Red Bull has been in the Formula One since 2005 after it bought out the Jaguar team. The first couple years were far from a success, but with master designer Andrian Newey and talented team boss Christian Horner, the team started to make inroads from 2009 onwards. What many new teams never achieved, which is winning a world title, Red Bull achieved 4 times in a row from 2010 till 2013. A 5th world title was added after Max Verstappen won the world title in 2021. The team has always been operating as a chassis developer and relied on engines from other manufacturers. However, more recently, Honda provided Red Bull with a manufacturer status. This meant that the Honda engine was optimized and specifically developed to work together with the Red Bull chassis. This helped Red Bull create a smoother and smaller bodywork and allowed them to maximize the aerodynamic performance of their car. As of 2022, Red Bull is also officially an F1 engine manufacturer after Honda decided to pull the plug. However, big things are happening as leaked documents published shows that Porsche is buying 50% of the Red Bull F1 team as of 2026. This means that Red Bull will use Porsche engines when the F1 introduces a new specification Formula One engine. But what implications does the Porsche announcement have for Red Bull? What will happen to Red Bull and AlphaTauri? Why does Porsche want to join the F1 again after 31 years? And more importantly, does Porsche even have the knowledge and infrastructure to make an F1 engine? Let's find out. Porsche was last part of Formula One in 1991 as an engine supplier for footwork. However, it had its own constructors team from 1957 till 1964. This never became a success as Porsche only managed to win 1 race, became second 3 times, and only once finished third. However, during the 80s, Porsche managed to win 24 races as an engine supplier for McLaren between 1984 and 1987. After that, McLaren switched to the famous Honda engines. So what is Porsche's history with building race cars? Porsche has been extremely successful in many different racing classes. One of the most famous Porsche cars is the Porsche 917, which brought Porsche their first 24 Hours of Le Mans victory. Porsche has mainly focused on long-distance races like 24 Hours of Le Mans, the WEC Series, and the GP Series. They have over 30,000 race victories total and is the largest race manufacturer of the world. If there is one thing we can agree on, it is that racing is in Porsche's DNA. But how did they start? The car company Porsche started out as a project of the son of Porsche founder Ferdinand Porsche. While Ferdinand Porsche was in prison due to alleged war crimes, his son Ferry Porsche took over the company. At that time, there was no car on the market that he wanted to buy, so he decided to develop his own car. Porsche already saw success with their first car, the legendary Volkswagen Beetle, after the German government asked them to create a car for the people. This eventually became Volkswagen. Ferry Porsche had the dream to build a sports car that was fast, overpowered, and good-looking at the same time. The first ever produced Porsche became the 356, with a 1.1-liter engine producing 40 horsepower. The prototype was a success, and after the first pre-orders started to roll in, the sports car company was officially born. But why did Porsche leave the F1 if its history is so embedded with racing and building sports cars? A combination of high costs, large investments, and a lack of crossover between F1 and road cars caused Porsche to pull the plug in F1 as an engine supplier. Porsche has always been very meticulous with their racing strategy. It is important for Porsche that the race cars add direct value to the development of their road cars. This can be achieved either through engine or aerodynamic developments of their race cars. For multiple years, the Volkswagen Group, which Porsche is part of, focused on the LMP1 series. The LMP1 was interesting to Porsche due to the gasoline hybrid engines. They built a powerful V4 2.0 hybrid engine producing around 900 horsepower total. However, due to costs and lack of future potential for their road cars, Porsche decided to pull the plug and focus on Formula E. But if LMP1 wasn't interesting to Porsche anymore, why does Porsche decide to re-enter the Formula One? Before I go over the next section, I do want to point out that the engine regulations aren't completed yet, but based on previous information provided from the FIA and the teams, we do have a good overview of what the engine regulations will more or less look like. The complete structure of the new F1 engines are expected to be released halfway through August this year. Let's continue. The Formula One wants to use engines with a larger component of electrical power involved. Currently, the V6 hybrid engines produce around 1,000 horsepower. of which 840 horsepower is produced through the V6 and turbo components, while the other 160 horsepower is produced through the electrical batteries. Due to the importance and growth of the electric vehicle market, the FIA and teams already decided to improve the importance of the electrical components. The latest news provided by the FIA is that the performance production is 50% supplied by electrical components and 50% by a regular V6 engine. However, biofuel becomes more important for the gasoline engine components, whereas the expensive MGU-H is likely to be eliminated. The engines also need to be more powerful and louder than this generation engines. The importance of electrical power and developing an engine that can drive on 100% biofuel makes the F1 an interesting race class for Porsche, as the F1 adds direct value to their own road cars. Even more is that the F1 has gained enormous popularity in the last couple years, and under the influence of Liberty Media, which owns the Formula One, the sport gained popularity in places it never did before. A third reason why F1 becomes interesting to them is that the F1 is more prone to keeping development costs down in the future. The F1 has learned from the past, where engine manufacturers would spend hundreds of millions a year to develop an engine, only to leave the sport in a couple years as the results were lacking. The F1 wants to make the sport more durable by putting a cap on development costs, including engine development. Now that we know why Porsche is so keen on returning to F1, what will happen to Red Bull when Porsche buys 50% of Red Bull? It is curious to see that Porsche buys exactly 50% of the shares. This means that neither Red Bull nor Porsche has the authority to push certain decisions through without agreement of the other party. An even split doesn't have to be a problem, as the companies can find consensus on how to run the team. It is expected that Porsche will operate as the engine manufacturer and will work closely together with the newly formed Red Bull powertrains. Furthermore, Porsche will be using Red Bull's resources in MILTON Keys for the aerodynamic and chassis development. Another interesting aspect is how they are going to market both companies. Red Bull is known for its participation in extreme sports and has built a strong brand around its energy drinks. The F1 is important for Red Bull to enhance their brand recognition and stimulate the sales of energy drinks. Porsche, however, is looking for value through the engine and car development. The knowledge and innovations gained through the development of the new engine is directly useful in gaining a competitive advantage over their road car competitors. Porsche also has a completely different branding strategy. Whereas Red Bull opt for extreme sports, Porsche focuses on fast and styleful. The Red Bull brand in Formula One is so strong that it is expected that they keep strong accents of the Red Bull livery mixed in with the Porsche colors. In the leaked documents, AlphaTauri was also mentioned. Porsche has no interest in acquiring a stake in AlphaTauri, and therefore AlphaTauri remains 100% in Red Bull's possession. Many do wonder why Red Bull would sell 50% of their brand. Red Bull is financially healthy. They have signed on great sponsors. For example, Oracle alone brings in $100 million a year, and they once again built a great car. Why couldn't Red Bull just sign an engine deal with Porsche? For the answer, we have to look at Mercedes. Porsche has seen what F1 has done to the popularity of Mercedes in the last couple years. The brand got an increased boost of worldwide brand recognition, while it only owns a third of the shares in the F1 team. 1/3 is owned by Toto Wolff, and the last third is owned by INEOS. By buying a large stake in the Red Bull team and adding their name to it, they hope that besides gaining crucial knowledge, they also profit from the increased popularity of Formula One and ultimately sell more cars. So does Porsche have the knowledge to build a powerful engine? Porsche is part of the Volkswagen Group, which is one of the largest car manufacturers in the world, and have state-of-the-art factories all over the world. They have invested and still are heavily investing in the development of the electric engine. Porsche has proven in the LMP1 to build powerful and reliable engines. Although it has been 31 years ago an F1 car was driven by a Porsche engine, there is no doubt that Porsche can build a strong enough engine to compete with the other engine manufacturers and fight for the world championship.